Hello and welcome to the Hotel Marketing Show. In this podcast, we're going to talk about all things hotel marketing. We're going to talk about things that are happening in the industry, insights, things that all hotel marketers or anybody that has an interest in hotel marketing wants to know about. My name is Victoria.
And I'm Nadine.
And we're the hosts of the Hotel Marketing Show. To kick off the podcast today, in this episode, we're going to be talking with Philip, GM of the Student Hotel Berlin, about the next generation of travelers and hoteliers.
Super excited for you to be here with us today, or better, we to be here with you today. Actually, to get things going, Philip, could you give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself? Who are you? What do you do?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm massively happy to be here with you. I'm sorry for my voice. I'm still a bit getting back to shape from our last night's event here at the Student Hotel, which is actually what we're very good at, having good and great events with a lot of people, all COVID-proof, obviously, and alcohol, sometimes alcohol. I'm the general manager of the Student Hotel in Berlin. I did open the property in October 2019. So I went from pre-opening GM directly to crisis GM because after 2 months we had the first corona cases in Europe, which would have been a part of my career that I would have not needed to, but I think that's probably something that we're all thinking about. And and that's basically my main job. I am a long-time industry friend, let's put it that way. I learned hotel industry in Germany 20 years ago. And I worked 18 years with the French company Accor. 1 year I was somewhere else, but I probably will come to that later, I don't know. And in Berlin, in the German part, or in the Hotel Association, DEHOGA, I'm part of the presidency here in Berlin. Still, we have elections coming up, so I'm not sure when if that's going to still be the case, depending on the size of the audience here.
We'll have to air this one fast so that it still counts.
Yeah, erase it. You just make a beep. And, no, super thrilled to be with you. Thanks.
A little update. He's no longer part of the presidency.
Former.
Super cool. Sounds like you have a lot on your plate, actually. One thing that we're interested in is in your hobbies. Is there something that you started in 2021 that you definitely want to keep doing in 2022?
Wow. Let's look into my... Actually, I'm a father of a 7-year-old that I love, fortunately, the most. He's the best person in my life, and he's 50% of the time with me. So I would say what I liked the most in that whole period is that there were moments where you were forced to have more time, which sounds so awful, but it's actually great because I had to take him to work. He was around with me all day, so you really had to start forming an alliance with a 7-year-old. That really changed something between us, and I'm really thankful on him. He was a big part of the hotel as well, so he was a lot of times here, cycling around on the ground or running. And when it was more open, he's going to the barber and makes his own appointments. So that's quite good to see. Sitting in my back office, having the cameras set up, and I can see him running. No, but that's something I really liked. Hobby-wise, I play basketball. I did it actually 2021, once when it was illegal and I got busted by the cops. I was with a friend of mine, Fritz. He's not a good basketballer, but he claims to be. But we jumped over a fence and the police came and caught us. That was a bit funny. No, but besides that, I really enjoyed working out a lot. We kept the gym open, half legal here. And when it was not allowed to have it, I had equipment in one of the meeting rooms. Actually where we are right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was our meeting room where I literally worked out every day. So that was really cool when it comes to that. But besides that, I would not say that there was a new hobby, something that changed everything. I did cook a lot, but I think we all did because we were more at home. Restaurants were closed and ordering was not always an option. And I did cook a lot of good things. My son helped me a lot. He Hensler's schnelle Nummer for the Germans.
Oh, yeah.
It was really nice. And Otto Lengi.
Oh,
I think I have 3 books from him, and I really try to cook a lot of things. And that's obviously something that I really like. I want to show my son the food that we eat. How is it prepared? What can you do with it? Giving an education part. That's really nice.
That's awesome.
Otto Lengi has this awesome book one there, which is called Simple.
Yeah, I have it.
Yep, and they have a super good potato gratin with coconut.
Easy. You made that. You sent us pictures when you made that, eh?
Yeah.
Oh,
and good. I started Otto Lengi obviously with Jerusalem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's very, very difficult, very difficult to cook. And then I found the simple one, and I thought, okay, the normal one is a bit too hard for me sometimes, and you need a lot of preparation. You need a lot of extra
Lot of
things around. You
ingredients.
have the ingredients, and then you have to be very precise. And then I tried the simple one, and I really liked it because, as the name said, it's easy. You can do everything very quick and dirty. And he has a third one that I don't come up the name with. It's an Arabic version, so as well so it's a quite good one.
Yeah, they have.
Palestine, I think is.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm really obsessed with him. Like, I think he has so many great recipes, actually, and they're fun.
Have you ever eaten in one of his restaurants in London?
No, I
want
haven't.
to do that.
Did you?
No, I want to do that.
Well, that's a thing for 2022 then. Travel to London.
London is actually on the list. I usually am always in London, but yeah, the Brexit thing is a bit the thing.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
it
true.
more annoying. And another question for you. What's something that you're hoping to see in the hotel industry in 2022?
Actually, yesterday was like a good example. I said it yesterday in one of the panels. I really think there's some sort of people that like the personal interaction. There's some sort of people who need the personal interaction, not only from a sales perspective, because you make sales as a person, as well as part of our socializing concept or culture. And I'm a very social person, and having an event here where you can be with people and talk to people, laugh. You laugh so much and you have so much stories to share afterwards. I am so thrilled to have that back somehow. Yeah. That's really, for me, a game changer, because I did not come to this industry to sit in front of an Excel sheet and prepare something for the tax authorizations or stuff like this. I came to this industry because I wanted to be amongst people, and in my world, every day amongst new people and different people with a different story and a life and something to share. That's really something that made me very happy yesterday at that event, and I'm glad that this is coming back, and I said that it will come back. There will be a change though. So how do we accommodate people who don't? The other parts of the people are really happy about Teams and Zoom meetings because they're not as social, and I don't think it's bad. So we have to get them in perspective, a possibility of interacting in their terms as well, because they're scared or don't want to do it. But I think having the physical presence, having you guys here, that's a different thing than being on a Zoom meeting or a Teams. And I said, how many times have you said, you're on mute?
Can you see my screen?
Can you see my screen is even better. Or you have those who don't know that you can just share a window or all windows, and then you're constantly switching to emails and starting doing emails.
You, like, see the calendar. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that. Can you see my screen is like one of those things where you're like, don't say it.
I always say it too, but I think the most used one is you're on mute.
Yeah.
For me, that's you're on mute. Yeah. And what I like most, those people, you're 12 people in a call. One is speaking and one has background noises and does not put himself on mute.
Yeah, but the best thing is just muting them.
That's what I do quite often. Yeah. Or when they raise the hand, you can put the hand.
I know that I discovered by accident, actually, that you can remove people from the meeting. So once I figured that out, there was no stopping me. Like, all of a sudden, sometimes, in the morning meetings or something, where someone was talking, I was like, remove from meeting.
I think Nadine had a lot of meetings alone.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about
Today we're going to talk about me. Yeah, I definitely agree with the events, though, because I think that it's one of these cases where you know that you miss it, but you only know how much you missed it when they're happening again. And I think just meeting so many different people, having conversations, there's virtually, literally no way to replicate that, I think, in an online environment.
Guys, think back at the last 2 years. How did you celebrate your birthdays? With video screens, friends everywhere. We had to organize cake to a 30th birthday, make sure that this person gets it in her face and stuff like. Really, this is a different kind, and it was fun for a period. But I like the other things more.
Yeah.
I like to be present and hold the cake when I do fun, But again, as I said, there might be, and I said that yes, there might be something that we as an industry have to rethink and reassess. What is important? How many? And I said yes. How many? When you go to a hotel and you're in your room, 7th floor, you have a meeting on the 1st floor, and then you have a ground floor bar. How many times do you have to re-enter the Wi-Fi? Mm-hmm. And how many times can you just stay on the call while you pass and stroll through? That's a different kind of working for me.
Yeah, I think we've kind of talked about it like a little bit before as well, but like the in-person events, like the human connection is something that people that are like in the hospitality industry I think they really like crave it. And so I think that's why these events are so good, because everybody gets to like have that human connection and like be around people. But I think it'll be interesting to see like the people that are not necessarily in the hospitality industry, like how that kind of changes as well. Because I think events and like face-to-face stuff has been so huge like in this industry, but maybe like other industries might stay like more online. I don't know.
I agree 100%. I think as well, how do you, I mean, I'm a hugger, I'm a toucher. I want that atmosphere. I want to be in a room with people and really enjoy personal connections. But there are people who are not like this and might still be successful in whatever they do, or it's the other way around. Some of them we need. So we need, it's a different thing. If you want to sell me something, you have to meet me on my terms at some point. But the other way, if you need something from somebody and he's a total opposite, so that's going to be interesting. How important is it going to be for the most important hospitality partners or hotels to be on a trade fair? If it's not part of their DNA, you know, if it's not part of what they do, or if they say as a company, we don't travel, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be interesting. That's really going to be a challenging one.
It's actually quite fascinating, because also talking to different customers, you get such different feedback. You know, some people say like, oh, we love this online environment and we want to keep doing everything online. And others are like, oh, when are you coming to visit? You should plan in like a road show. Like, I really want to see you guys face to face. So I think people are just kind of drifting to either one side or the other.
Let's see when there is a bit normality, how distanced you can be when you want to sell something. I always say that.
Yeah.
Sales is not something, I mean, you can have shares, trade, stock exchange. You don't need to be doing in person. But I'm pretty much, if you buy a car, have you ever bought a car and then not touched and see the person or stuff like this?
Yeah, you want to test it out, right? It's not like online shopping.
Well, let's put it on dating. Have you ever married with somebody that you've never met? You know.
Well, there is a show called Love is Blind.
And how do you like it?
I do have to say that I did binge watch it. It's like a guilty pleasure.
That's what Nadine started in 2021.
That's your hobby.
That's my hobby, binge watching Love is Blind. But some people married and they're still together. Well, at least I didn't watch the reunion yet, so stay tuned.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
That's great. I always try to, I don't know, the more you invest, if you put it in a very technical term, and if you say, okay, a relationship is a huge investment, or it should be a huge investment, the more you invest, the more secure and trustful your business partner should be. And I think that's a bit the topic. You want to see how does he react on you look at him, you ask a question, how do they react on things you say, and how do you align with that reaction? So that's a bit what I mean. The higher they invest, the more closer you should be.
Yeah, so true.
That actually leads quite nicely into the other question we wanted to ask you, and I think that's all around the pandemic. I know that there's so much talking about the pandemic.
It's funny because I really want to talk more about that show that you were binge watching.
I'll tell you about it.
Today we're talking with Philip about Love is Blind.
Yeah, can we do an extra session just about your experience with that show, and then you just highlight the best part? No.
Look, what I can do for you next time I watch the show is just like do a voiceover and I'll comment it as well. You know? So you get the best of both worlds.
Listen, for all the people listening this podcast, if you want this company, the Hotel Champs, to do that in an not only in audio format, probably in a video format, please put your comment, your like, your email. Send an email to info@hotel.
Welcome at hotelchamps.com.
Welcome at hotelchamps.com, and then you send and say we want to see that show, and then I'm gonna co-commenting that. I'm watching it the first time, and then we're gonna comment that show.
Yeah, we should maybe that's a new thing we can do. Just watch like Netflix shows and just co-comment on them.
Yeah. So back from
back
the trash
to the
point.
question.
Yeah, sorry,
From the trash TV to seriousness. So the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
How did the pandemic, in your opinion, force hoteliers to actually change their perspective and adapt?
I think we had that before. The first and most important thing is I'm not sure if the pandemic is the reason for stuff. I said it before. It's probably the speeding boat, but it is nothing that it is clear that the development that we're as an industry are taking at the moment would have to be coming at a certain point. I'm not talking about sustainability, for example. How long is traveling something for everybody? I love it, but we have just one Earth, so to say. So there must be some sort of change there. So what we have now is really we're forced into a situation where we have to think. The hospitality industry itself is nothing where you have leaders being early adapters, and that's quite normal. Why? You deal with 80% of the people, and when 80% of the people are okay with what the normal thing is, and they give you money, why would you change it? If you're not forced by everybody else to make your Wi-Fi free, why should you?
Yeah.
There were times where we had Wi-Fi at Starbucks was not free. They were the first one to make it free, but then you had to ask them buy a coffee to get the code and stuff like this. So the development is brought by the people who are using it. So what the pandemic does, obviously, it does change the whole people who are our customers. It changes their behaviors. How much are you willing to pay for meat? We always in Germany we use that you have a 400 euro grill, but then you have a 199 meat from a discounter. How does that match up? Why is the technical tool so much more important than what you put in your body? So that's probably one of the things that the whole pandemic has changed as well in the behaviors that we do. And what I really like is I see a lot of hotel colleagues being a bit more focused on the community, on who is our target group and why are we doing it. So yesterday we heard that there's one hotel and they have much more dogs, much more people are coming with dogs. That's a nice take. So that does make you have to adapt your marketing. You need more of this water buckets or stuff like this. How do you treat that situation? How many of your rooms can be for dogs and for people who have allergies? So I really think you start making a more detailed look at who is your customer. And as a hotel industry, we were so much in a state of, wow, whatever I do, if I'm centrally located, open a Motel 1 and the Motel 1 will drive, business will drive guests. So, and now probably everybody, Motel 1 is a great chain because probably they don't need to do that in total. But we as a company at TSH, we focus and we changed, by the way. Now we're at the moment changing the entire team. Every staff member is focusing on community. So we will get rid of boundaries. There will be no receptionist and barkeeper and server. We will have people called community hosts. They're hosting our community. It doesn't matter whether they're here for a day, for half a year, for 2 days, or just for a coffee. They're our community. And then I have community supervisors because I have people that are taking decisions for this community. And I have people managing the community. And that's quite funny because the community consists of my team as well. They are part of my community. I always say during the pandemic, what we realized, I spend fucking more time here than with my team than with the people home.
Yeah.
So that's my community. Without them, I'm nothing. My good, one of my bosses in Africa, I would love you to tag him. I'm not sure if he still reads social media. Najib Bensouda, he always stood in front of the 200 people in chat in the hotel and said, I'm the GM here. I'm nothing without you guys. And at the same time, you need me in order to be a facilitator for your job. And that understanding, that community consists of your team and the guests and everybody who is involved, partners, the taxi drivers, that is something that we change. My team, for example, at the moment is working on a concept that when you enter this building, there has to be somebody of the team and say, hey, I'm Victoria. Welcome to the Student Hotel Berlin. Welcome for the best decision you have taken today to come to our hotel because we're going to change your next 10 minutes, 5 years or whatever. And that's a bit what we're working on.
That's very
so
cool.
I love that.
Oh, you have to. You said the same thing. The same speed.
We're like,
Jinx.
1, 2, 3. That's all. No. I can't do it again.
I missed that.
Yeah.
No, I think that's so cool, and I think that's such a cool take on. Well, like you said, not necessarily like adapting because of the pandemic, but what the pandemic has kind of sped up. And I think that almost like that forced isolation has made a lot of people realize how important that human connection, that community, and then coming back to the hotel industry, like the guest experience and what you can actually do when you have that connection, like with a person as well. We're talking about tech stack all the time. I love that. I mean, obviously that's what you guys are good at, what everybody's good at. But if you're a hotel somewhere in Bavaria, if you stay in Germany, and the people who travel to your hotel are all 50, 60, 70 plus, how important is it to install that openable, with your smartphone, openable door locks?
Yeah.
Or might it be more important that you have entrance that is without stairs? And so look who is your target audience. And I really saw in the last 2 years that people as well, small hotels that never were forced to think about it, rethought about what are we doing to host our guests, our customers. And that's really, actually, that's not bad. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, you're just talking about it, about really the expectation management as well, right? If you go somewhere for a week on like a wellness hotel, I'm not sure if you constantly want to run around with your mobile phone to unlock the doors or actually have a real card, right? Or a key to unlock the doors.
And to be fair, right? That the technology is amazing. Yeah. I love it. And I'm an adapter for that. But I love my mother and my stepfather to bits. They would get bananas.
Yeah.
They would get bananas. My son, on the other hand, he would be the first one, can I have your mobile? Because he thinks he can open the door, but then he will play on the way. No, but
some selfies.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly how we should try to make that part of whatever we do for the customer. And probably one take on that, I worked so long for Accor, which is an amazing company, and we started with, how do we attract an Ibis customer? And then we're like, how do we attract a Sofitel customer? Today there are so much more brands and so much more elaborated 5-star products. But how do we attract that person as an Ibis customer and a Sofitel customer? And it was interesting to see, I worked at Accor in the period where they realized, fuck's sake, the same person could be an Ibis customer and then a Sofitel customer. Because you're on a business trip and your company is right next door to an Ibis. Very much you don't want to be in a 5-star property with a pool and 7 bar outlets because you have no time. You want to be close to where you have your task, and then you accept the Ibis, and it's great. Then you collect a lot of points because you're there every week, and then you take your wife, friend, partner, whatever out, and you say, now we're going in the same location, but obviously I'm not going to stay in the Ibis. I'm going to stay in the Sofitel because I have a pool and I have all that. So how do we give a guest at that moment where he is what he needs? And that's a bit what we see now as well on a much smaller scale.
I think also that's a really good point. We were also talking in a previous episode about guest experiences, expectations, and even things like the minibar, right? Before it was something that it was just stacked with like your usual orange juice, water, and that was basically it. And now thinking about, hey, what do our guests want to find when they enter the room maybe? How can we elevate their experience?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about minibars because as merch, I'm a minibar guy. I'm coming in a room, I would never leave something. I never left the hotel when there was a minibar and have not taken a thing. I think I never. I usually pay for it, but I'm always happy when it's included because then I take more.
Yeah.
Especially the water is something I always take when it's in a plastic bottle. I always take for travel. But but I do, from a hotelier's perspective, I know that that's a shit show. An old school minibar, you need 2 staff members for a large hotel. They do nothing else than check the minibar, and still you have somebody opening a beer bottle, drinking the beer, putting water in and putting the thing back off, and the next guy comes in and has water. So that, because you cannot have a staff member controlling every...
check each one.
Yeah. But I remember also there was a minibar at a hotel I stayed at some time ago, where as soon as you lifted it was already charging. But I was just looking at it.
Amazing.
I had no idea. I didn't even want to consume it, and I couldn't put it back, and it was charged, and I was like...
You tell them when you check out because they will trust you. But the funny thing is, my another industry partner, Julian van der Valk in the Pullman Eindhoven, they had that. They were one of the first hotels there, and he invited me once for a Dutch carnival in Brabant. And obviously there was a lot of parties going on, and we had a mission. We wanted to put on, because you can check on the room on the TV your minibar invoice, and we wanted to put 999 on that bill, and we succeeded by nothing doing else than lifting, putting it. And I remember he texted me. He said, "What in the hell are you doing with the minibar?" What? He took it off. Obviously, it was all there. Yeah, but coming back to the point, here in a city like Berlin, we have Get Here, Flink, Gorillas, Uber Eats. You see more of these people delivering stuff than ever, and they have a brighter variety. They're easier to accept. They pay with PayPal. The people bring it here. That's what it is. So at what time do I need it? At what time do I want it? And there you can differentiate. I think some of my people or guests would pay for it, having somebody deliver it to your room.
Yeah.
Take an extra fee for that, fine. But do I need it on my room? That takes away space. It makes a sound. It gives another energy. There is always a different thing in somewhere Bavaria or, I don't know, a small village. They don't have Uber and all that stuff. yeah, then a minibar might be the only way to get something to eat at a certain moment.
That's true. Sometimes we take it so for granted that we have all of these things around us, and then you go somewhere where it's a little bit more, let's say, remote, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, how can I not? You can't order any food. You can't order any groceries. I mean, what did we do before gorillas? Let's be honest.
And here's the point. I'm traveling to Vienna at the moment quite a lot and supporting the team there. We have a very, very, very beautiful student hotel there. Biggest hotel of Austria, 806 rooms. Amazing. Really direct at Praterstern. And then I arrived at Sunday afternoon, evening. And I'm a Berlin guy, you know. I live here so long. And as I said, I'm a minibar person. I need chips. You could wake me up, I would have chips. Salty stuff, I don't know. And then I came there and I was hungry. I said, okay, what? I need something to eat. Nothing to eat. What do I do? And then I said, okay, why don't I go to a dinner store or kebab store, whatever, grab something? And then I checked. There's one spot in whole Vienna that has 24 hours open. It's a bakery.
What?
Yeah. And then it was 2 kilometers away. No, it was 2 kilometers away. And I said, okay, how desperate is that?
Yeah.
If
How
I
bad do
have
I
to
want
leave
this?
this place now for 2 kilometers, however I come there, by Uber, obviously, to grab something from the bakery where probably they only have a cake, and go back. I didn't do it.
It's also a really interesting choice that the thing that is open for 24 hours is a bakery. Like, it just...
Yeah, but now all the people from Vienna will say, no, we know that. I did not. I just did not do an
send them all of
intensive
your
research.
recommendations.
But yeah, no, you're right. I think it depends. Thinking and rethinking concepts that we were used to and just took for granted as well, right?
There as well partners already in the industry. They for the minibar, there's good solutions as well, digital solutions. You have a little roboter that is we saw him as well already running through the hotel. He comes to your door. He's able to ring or make a sound, and you open, and he has everything. You pay directly, PayPal or whatever. There are solutions for that, I think. But again, then back to tech stack. Is the investment in that computer for my little hotel in Bavaria the right thing? Is there a Philip coming who's craving for chips in an amount of Philips that the investment of this roboter is somehow corrected? Or
You probably have to eat a lot of chips to break even on that.
I'm pretty sure that I could do it, but I don't know in which time. And the thing is, if he's already at your door, you might take a gin tonic as well or a beer, as he's already there.
Yeah, he's made the trip.
He's already here. Oh, look, there's a chocolate thing. I'll take it as well.
But coming back to what we also want to talk about, next generation, travelers, guests, hoteliers, how do you think the values will change?
I already said that I think that especially the factor sustainability in all sorts of the word will define us. Somehow will define how we market and how are we perceived within a travel community that is so connected, so informed, so woken, I would say, with everything that is for sustainable responsibility, including the social part. We saw emerging things for female emancipation, great. Black Lives Matters, great. We see Me Too campaigns. I think in Holland at the moment there's huge things going on, like a second or third wave of that whole women's. I don't. Is it called Me Too there as well?
I think so.
Yeah, same
too,
thing.
yeah.
But you see that, and I think that's amazing, but we have to answer that. So as a thing at Student Hotel, we're very, very careful with the use of Christmas, for example. It's a simple thing. My father is Muslim, my mother is Christian. I never thought about it because Christmas is part of my German tradition. I don't had a background where I was thinking, hey, why 24th presents? Even my father, his whole family, they give each other presents at Christmas, even though they don't celebrate it that much. In addition, they do the Sugarfest Eid. So I think it's just about getting more presents. No, but here's the deal. For a lot of my students in-house, they come from a different background, and having all decorated in Christmas decoration and Christmas topic does not add a value, does not give them a good feeling. And you have to think about that. And especially us here, think, it's German. Huh? You go somewhere from April onwards, you have Spekulatius and Christmas chocolate or whatever, but then we're not allowed to use it. But then I thought about it, and we just say, hey, we take festive season or seasonal greetings. It doesn't hurt. And I always take that example. If somebody's called Michael and you say, hey, so you're Mike. And he said, no, I prefer to be called Michael. Okay, then I just call him Michael. That is all it takes. And that ability of answering these needs is something, let's see how the industry responds to that. How do we respond if people want to know how much you do really good for the environment. What is your good deeds in that? What are the numbers behind that? You see a lot of companies investing in a real corporate social responsibility officer, a strong one. And I'm not talking somebody who's reporting to the commercial person, part of the management board. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I can tell you out of my experience, 6 years ago in my old hotel at the Mercure, I think it was there even longer, we changed a very famous chocolate spread. We're not allowed to say commercials right now. Not that we get sued or something. It's a very famous one.
Does it start with N and end with Utella?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. They were in a very, very tiny 30 or 15 gram package.
Oh, the plastic
The
one.
plastic ones, and if you turn it around, it looks like the glass,
Yeah.
and it has a lot of little corners in the plastic. So literally, you measured it from the 15 gram, you can only get 10 gram out of it, unless you put your tongue in and you're looking like an idiot and lick it out. But that's the only way you get it. And we decided the whole palm oil, everything there as a company. We said, okay, we're gonna take it away from the breakfast buffet, and we add a very, very high quality chocolate spread from a German supplier, which is not cheaper and has only a third of their palm oil. And we added on the breakfast buffet and we put it there. And within a week, we got complaints of guests. They said, look at that, people, they want to save money by adding a cheap, they're not even having their chocolate spread anymore, blah, 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 blah. And we were looking at each other and said, look, we're doing something good. But the people were not on the level of understanding why we did it. That was as well a learning. We reviewed and said, we have to tell the story. Why is that here? So we put a big sign on it, made a real explanation. What is that? Why is that? Who is producing it? And all of a sudden we got rid of that. It changed that the supplier changed this little plastic bag. So it's now from the 15 gram, you can get out 14 grams because they changed how they did it. But that's a big thing, to be honest. And you have to do something that the audience can align on. And now I'm pretty sure I'm getting much more feedbacks or negative feedbacks when I don't do stuff like this. Plastic straws, plastic bags, a lot of things. The first country in the world that erased plastic bags is Rwanda.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they did that. Now everybody that's a long time ago already. Yeah, but that's what I mean. There is some sustainability going on and some serious thoughts that we have to reply. And I caught myself yesterday evening. I was drinking something from my bar, and I asked, "Can I have a straw?" Which I don't know what I drank, but can I have a straw? And he gave me a straw, a plastic straw. And I looked at myself and I said, "Why do we have plastic straws? I bought glass straws from Halm and everything." He said, "Yeah, it's true, but we have 5,000 downstairs, and I'm not gonna throw them away." So we have to tell the story. Why? Yeah, they come from a moment where that was normal to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, one of our industry trends for the year is, the rise of the next generation travelers, so millennials and Generation Z, and their expectations, I think, kind of what you mentioned, towards brands and brand responsibility. I think potentially is leading a lot of these kind of discussions, because they're quite vocal about good things on social media and getting out there and protesting. And I think one of the things which I think would be kind of interesting to talk about as well is DEI, so diversity, equity and inclusion. How do you see that in terms of the expectation of next gen with DEI in terms of the hotel stay?
Amazing. Honestly, that's an amazing question. I'm not 100% sure if I feel capable and empowered enough to answer that, but obviously I'm a black male. So the one part of me is majority, because males always have it a bit simpler sometimes. The other part of me is somehow, I don't know a lot of black male general managers in Germany. I think 2 or 3. That's not much. So what does that mean about our industry? Who takes the decisions? Who do we need? How long did it need us to bring all those amazing female leaders up to a level where they really can speak out? Just mentioning one, Daniela Schade, I was gifted to work with her so long. She's an amazing female leader with so much power and so much leadership. I learned so much from her. But the thing is, not what do companies do, how serious and how authentic do they live it. That's at the end what they need to somehow live up to. And I can speak for Student Hotel at the moment. We have an entire team that does D&I, exactly with the same topic. We all went through a D&I training, as I said earlier, about festive season as well, about looking at pictures, how do you empower, and as well sometimes, and I have to be very careful, because obviously I'm always good for a joke. So you might take it well, but what if somebody doesn't take it well? How do I react on a situation where somebody said, hey, look, it's not nice. That was not nice. How do I deal with the situation? And it's a bit as well a learning possibility. And I said it earlier, I really want in my management team always to have a very equal share, at least between the gender. It's more, is LGBT as well. How do we embed it? Is it enough to have a rainbow flag or a sticker somewhere, or might it be not okay that you really
how do you actually like live
support
those values rather than just like a token symbol?
Google Pink Pillow Berlin. I founded 12 years ago or 10 years ago a collection of hotels here in Berlin with the destination marketing. I'm still their spokesman. We're the only concept in the world that has hotels for the majority of guests. We're not a gay or lesbian branded hotel. We're a hotel. But we formed an alliance, it's nearly 60 hotels that cater open to that target group, if you just put it on a marketing side, and have a clear value proposition for them. And that is so successful that I'm invited, I'm very happy, invited on conference all over the world. I'm going to be in New York this year at the Proud Experience. I was in Malta. I'm traveling a lot with the Messe ITB, the fair itself. So that's quite something that you can do and form in order to be really authentic in what you do. And I know that I do look how I look. That is already a statement. The company made a statement. There's a black man doing that, and that's as well something. So probably the next step is to have a black woman as well, as an example. The female, within Student Hotel, there's, I think, more female GMs and leaders than male, at least 50%. But that is not probably the normality.
And I think that's such an important point as well, because a lot of times people say something and say we stand openly for this, but then they don't think about the tiny details or small details that actually support their point, the point they're trying to make there.
I had a huge discussion when we talked about a female quota in leadership, and I said at a conference of female empowerment, I was in the audience, and I asked the guests on the speakers on the stage. It was, by the way, Olga Häuser from Dialogschiff that really gave me that insight. I asked how I would not feel nice if I know there's a quota for black people and I'm hired because they needed a quota. They need to fulfill a quota. And I asked, is that something as a woman? Is that what you want? I cannot understand that feeling. And actually she said, look, and she explained it with hotel industry. If you run a hotel, you don't start yielding the business until you have reached 80%, right? If you have only 50% occupancy, you're not going to be very picky when it comes to people paying for you. You're going to take what you have. Once you have reached 80%, you're going to start, okay, look, this client does only come on a Wednesday, does only pay €70. We can replace him by somebody who comes 5 days and pays the double amount. And so that's a bit the same thing. Empower people first. Give more female leaders the chance to lead and empower them to be them. And then you don't need a quota anymore. But now to force people to first put some people on the plate, that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
That was so clear to me with that yielding, because the hotel I do understand.
Yeah, that example rings home.
So, like, I think that, like, what you were touching on about, you know, it's so important that if you have these values that you actually live them. Because I think, especially with next generation travelers, they are really seeking like authenticity, and I think they can often see through if something is just like a token expression or a token
pinkwashing is what we use in the LGBT as well.
I actually saw this great like Twitter account, because like this week it's been International Women's Day, and it's called like the pay gap bot. And so anytime that a company has done like an International Women's Day tweet, this bot tweets what the gender, like the pay disparity is between men and women. And so it's been really fascinating to see these people that like came out with this these tweets, and then it's like the pay gap between men and women is 10%, or the pay is like equal. I think people have the ability to find out if you actually are living those values, or if it's just, you know.
I really hope that for more people than me, it is not understandable. But I mean, it's out there, but I don't understand the concept of paying a woman less than the man. I clearly just don't. The administrative extra work you do for that, how and why? Yeah. Why do you say, look, she's a girl, let's pay her less? Why? And if we talk about empowerment, give that. Go out there. Yeah. But that's something we have to empower. That's clearly what these companies do.
That's awesome. Well, we've talked about a lot of different topics today, and I think we're heading towards the end of our time together. Maybe we've even gone a little bit over. But as we wrap up, Philip, can you share 3 of your key takeaways for hoteliers at the moment?
I always feel a bit insecure in giving advices to hoteliers. I think most of them that I know, they are so experienced in what they do, probably I'm a city hotel, so I can run a city hotel somehow. But what we said, and we discussed that long, look into the needs of your building. Are you in need of a tech supplier, or are you in need of a bathtub? So probably you have a tech supplier who gives you data and insight about your guests, and with that data you review your offer. That's something out of the pandemic. It's really something everybody spoke about, investing and digitalization and stuff. But what is needed in your case? That's probably one of the takeaways for the last period. And then we're going to have a huge battle for those people who really do the job. Make sure to have enough for your understand your community as a holistic approach, where you have staff, visitors, guests, suppliers, the taxi drivers that deliver the guests. And as an example, I see hotels where people are scared to go to the toilet. That's stupid. I always go in the 5-star hotels when I need to wash my hands in New York. I always go in a 5-star hotel. I've never had a bellboy holding me up if I want to go in a hotel. Never, ever. Obviously, they're there to accommodate and cater to people. I go there on toilet. I don't pay 50 cents to sit on a very disgusting toilet. I look for a 5-star hotel and I go and
you know it'll be good.
Yeah, no, and then I know that's their job, and sometimes I see merch and I say, oh, that's nice, I'm going to buy it. And that's exactly how that should be. So make sure as a hotelier you understand yourself as an open house and an open community. And if somebody comes in probably from the basketball court all wet and soaked and he asks for the toilet, it could be the CEO of the opening company next door. You don't know what he's doing. So have the holistic approach of your community. I think that's the second one, where possible. And then, make sure to be ready for the restart, because I think especially for those hotels like we in the city, the restart will come like last year within a split second. And then you stand there and you have 100% occupancy, but no maids that clean the room. Mm-hmm. We have seen hotels a lot that they couldn't sell out the rooms because they didn't have the stuff. So probably 2 and 3 are the same route. Yeah,
those were good ones.
Yeah, that was good. But that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today, Philip. I think it was a really great discussion. Really, really a pleasure to have you on the podcast with us.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. Me too. There we go again. No, thank you for having me. I'm super thrilled. Yeah, sometimes I'm a bit. I'm not a humble person as most, but I'm humbled that I'm asked questions and I'm that you trust that I have an answer for that, and that's something that I'm really thankful for, because it means that sometimes it's not only fun. Sometimes people might really be interested in what I do. So that's quite cool. Thank you for that.
And for those of you that don't know, also Philip helps host the Smack podcast as well. So if you want to hear more of what he has to say or his discussions with people, make sure to check that out.
Yeah, I can say one sentence to that, because the Smack guys always tell me I have to do the German podcast because my English is too bad. Huh? I'm just saying.
What? English was great.
Yeah, these guys, Fritz, Flo, they're all very educated, come from high-class universities. Not like me working on the street, this kind of thing, having a career starting like that. They told me, you should do the German ones because your English is not as good as ours. Yeah. Keep on laughing, guys.
Okay, exactly. So this one goes out to the haters.
Haters!
So good. But for those of you listening, please share your thoughts with us. If you think there's anything else that we've missed today, or if you have any questions about any of the topics that we've covered, please get in touch with us at welcome@hotelchamp.com. And if you want to hear Nadine's running commentary on Love is Blind, please also send us an email at welcome@hotelchamp.com. And make sure to follow Hotel Champ on all of your favorite social media channels.
We're going to set up a stage at the student hotel. We're going to do a live audience listening thing, and we're going to all do it together.
Like live streaming.
Yeah. And drinks we're going to charge to welcome at Hotel Champ.
Send the invoice too. Awesome. Stay tuned for more episodes in the future. Take care of yourself. Have a great day. And bye-bye.
I missed it again.
Well, you can still say
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.